Okay. Check, check. All right. There we go. Let me just put something cool on in the background here.
We are on TikTok as well. Give us a 1 or a 2. A 1 if you can hear us good, a 2 if you can't.
Yeah, I like that. We need something. We need a little something. All right, let's get something in the background. Just something nice to visualize here for the people. Hello, everybody. Welcome in to People Helping People. We are just working out some things here to make sure everything looks good for you guys. And it looks like we have a really cool look at that.
I love how you did the TV in the background.
Right.
Hope everyone had a good day. Welcome to 857 the show and People Helping People.
The collaboration.
Alexander J. Ward.
Yes, sir. And we have an exciting show today.
Hey, I once you told me who our guest is, and I can't wait for you to introduce them.
Yes.
Thank you all for tuning in today. We are on the TikTok as well. Shout out to our one viewer, Delaney, on TikTok. But hey, thank you to all you here.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, I'm going to go in here, but I don't have any music dialed up. But if you have any, feel free to throw it in a little bit of a...
Yeah, we can throw in a little background music while we get things set up here and dialed in. Maybe we can do a little countdown for the people. You got the countdown over there.
If you guys could share out the stream.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate everybody being in here. And we're opening up the lines for conversation. So if you guys have any questions for us, if you have any concerns, you have anything you want to go over, by all means, leave it in the comment box. And again, this is 857 Tucson, partnering up with People Helping People. And we're just cross-pollinating here. We're just having some fun, getting together and introducing good people to do good things, man.
That's what it's about. And we got a lot of them in the chat. We got Mama Siggy right here. She gave a great name right here. She goes, we should name one of the shows Ties to the Community. Because that's what I use like a lot of times in court. They'll say ties to the community as far as like someone getting arrested.
Yeah.
Of a good reason to release them.
Yeah.
So we kind of took that in, ties to our community. Oh, I like it.
Round of applause for that.
Oh, and Mama Siggy, thank you for the super chat.
Yes. Appreciate you. The crowd is going wild.
Mama Siggy's a good supporter. And shout out to our boy Nick in the chat. Nick, you actually met his brother. I don't know if you know that.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Nice.
So Mr. Nature is Nick. Nick is his brother.
Cool.
Nick and me have known each other for, well, I'm older than him. So about 42 years.
Okay.
Yeah. We're talking 40 plus years. Maybe
Very
not
nice.
that long, but close. Maybe like 38. I don't know. Close.
I like it. Welcome in, Nick.
Hey, and we do have someone that wants your name, Desert Adventures. If you look at him,
yeah,
he's asking what your name. So if you want to introduce and tell a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I guess this is the first collaborative project, really, right? I mean, bringing two and two together. Yeah, I'm Alexander J. Hello, everybody. And yeah, I am a music producer. I have been producing music for 20 some odd years. I've owned production companies. I've worked in the oil field. I've been a chef. I've done some construction. And now I'm kind of just taking everything that I've learned and putting it to one platform. It's kind of bottlenecked, you know. This is the funnel. This is what I enjoy doing more than anything, which is communicating with human beings and helping people. And that's why I started People Helping People, because I think everybody's got a voice. Everybody deserves to be heard. And yeah.
Well, and that's the thing about the internet is it wasn't around. And so how did people communicate before the beepers and the cell phones?
Right.
You didn't really. You only had your 5 or 10 people. Yeah.
You just hope for the best.
And then the internet happened. And now people are feeling, I think, a little more comfortable in finding their communities that they can relate to.
Yeah.
Right. Because everybody wants to have that place where they can feel like they can go home and it's like people know you. Right.
Yeah.
And so I think people are feeling more comfortable to join communities, to start communities. And so that's why I think with your name, people helping people, and also that ties to community, which I like. It's all about inspiring other people, like whatever you guys have. If it's something you're overcoming, if it's something you're looking to do in the future, that we're here to support you and just help your mission.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, and I think that you and I, when we first got together, we really had similar goals. We had similar ideas, and so us coming together and doing something like this it's going to be a bigger movement than what I think we expect. And that's what's exciting, is like being able to give people that voice and get to know them. Like, I'm just generally curious about individuals.
Yeah.
And you're an amazing artist too.
Hey,
Like,
appreciate
and,
that.
and
Thank
someday
you.
let's bring on your artwork, showcase it, see where the inspiration comes from. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's got a little something, whatever they're passionate about. Like, that's what we want to talk about. That's what we're here for.
And that's the thing is I'm going to actually have Ben make us a shirt, and basically, stay creative. And that's what it is like, always stay creative, because life can be so mundane as far as people just getting up to work, the same thing. And so, but if you bring that creative part into, even if it's like some people like to, draw or whatever. If it's knitting, I know some people are, knitting's a big thing now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anything to keep your brain,
keep you sane, keep you grounded.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just turn off the noise for a minute. And that's the thing, is like, there's so many different passions in the world. And I think that the encompassing portion of people helping people is the fact that there are so many other people that want to start these types of businesses. So talking to business owners who have been successful in that lane and getting the nuggets from them, not only for myself, like I'm going to learn a lot from the people around me that we sit down and talk to, but maybe art, drawing, things like that may not be my niche.
Yeah.
But somebody listening is like, man, I've been sketching for X amount of years, thinking about turning this into a business.
Yeah.
Well, when we sit down and speak with an artist, they can give us the breakdown.
Yeah.
How did that look? How did you grow the business? Did you go online first? Was it shop to shop?
Yeah. And that's the thing, is building that, that community where maybe people, they don't have the ability to be creative for whatever reason. There might be a disability. There might just be something where they don't want to be creative, but they like helping, or they like supporting other creative people.
Yes.
And so that's where in this show, you're going to be able to meet other people that are doing cool things. But also hear maybe some stories of recovery, right? Maybe somebody had an addiction for a long time, right? And they finally hit over the hump, and they're clean for the time, whatever that time is. It could be a year, 6 months, it could be 10 years, but a lot of people facing, things like that really might help the next person go, hey, look, I heard that guy, he's clean for a year, and this is some things. And so it could be positive, but it could be something that's inspirational to help someone else get over something that's been holding them back.
Yeah. I mean, with people helping people, that's the chords that we want to play. We want to bring people together in one way or another, and share those stories with the world, because again, everybody has one. And I'm really, really excited for this show. We have not only are you on People Helping People, but I'm on 857 Tucson, and we have two incredible guests coming on the show tonight. And I see one of them in the background there, and I cannot wait to introduce.
Nice.
We'll get video going of her in just a moment, but let me go ahead and give you a quick little backstory before we say hello to the lovely Teresa Vanderveer Pratt. Give me just a moment. Okay. Teresa Vanderveer Pratt, I see you. Let's see if we can hear you as well. Give me a hello.
Can you hear me? Hello.
I can hear you. Beautiful.
Yay.
Welcome to People Helping People in 857 Tucson.
Welcome. Nice to meet you.
Look at that setup she's got there
nice
too.
to meet you. First I wanted to say thank you so much. for having me on your show. I really appreciate it. And it's such a wonderful venue that you've put together for people to share. And I think it's a really good place for people maybe that they can learn something. And I
Yeah.
just want to thank you for having me.
Well, I am really excited to have you for so many reasons. One of which you've been in my life since day one. She's one of the OGs, the original. This is my Aunt Tara, my mother's twin sister.
That is
And
amazing.
and she has always, you are such a, gosh, what is that tool that has a Swiss Army knife of human beings? She has had her hands in so many things, and I've watched her succeed and deal with trials and tribulations with such grace.
Thank you.
And I've always said that the women in my life were the reason that I was single for so long.
Yeah.
Because they're so great.
Yeah.
They showed me what a independent, loving, caring, strong, big will. I mean, just anything
That's
that you
beautiful.
could say that's amazing about a woman.
Yep.
My Aunt Tara, my
Oh, that
mom,
is awesome.
my sis, my cousin Afina, like all these women in my life are incredible. But let's get to the point.
And we do have someone, Desert Adventures in Arizona, says hello, Teresa.
Hello, Desert Adventures.
Yeah, follow his channel too. He has a great channel on YouTube where he does all kinds of adventures in Arizona. So there you go.
Beautiful. Well, Aunt Tara, you again are the Swiss Army knife of human beings. You have so many tools in your tool bag. And I would like to talk about a few of those today because I'm sure that we could have a podcast that lasts weeks just on end, just listening to you speak about the endeavors in your life and how you've overcome so much. But today we're talking about your art.
Okay.
And I would love to dive into a little bit about maybe where you first started getting inspired with art and how that somehow turned into a business, and kind of unpack that a little bit for us.
Sure, I'd love to. It started in high school, and I have, like you said, a twin sister, which is your mom, and she was kind of the star of the theater. And I was not really hip on being on stage. So we, being super connected as twins, she was on stage, and I really realized that backstage was kind of my nuts and bolts. I really loved creating some of these rudimentary. I mean, we're in high school, and we're doing Monkey's Paw or a Fiddle on the Roof, and there's not a lot to work with, but creating these immersive environments, that's a new word that's come out of that, but then is simple sets, pinning backdrops. And I realized I loved it. And, I could sing a little, I could dance a little. I love to dance. Gosh, it was, 1970s, and disco was the big thing. We were sneaking out disco dancing and having all sorts of fun. And I thought at 17 years old, didn't graduate from high school, that I was going to move to New York and be, a triple threat. Well, in that, I became a really good waitress. And excellent waitress. And one of the things about being a waitress is I realized I could actually make money anywhere I live, which was amazing, moving from California to New York, thinking I'm going to audition and be really, kind of the next thing. And I wasn't. I was not the in front of camera thing or on stage thing. But what I did get was I got a couple of jobs backstage doing some painting, a lot easier. And I didn't have a high school diploma, so I'm winging it in New York. I mean, I am really winging it. I have an apartment that is so small you could barely make a sandwich in, and you flip on the lights and all the cockroaches go crazy. I mean, there were moving walls. There was so much cockroach
in New York City
building. And, I came back to California, and I thought, well, I want to do that. I want to do art. And I was inspired as a kid at Disneyland. I always thought that I wanted to work at Disneyland, and that was my dream job, and I was going to be an artist. But Disneyland wants you to have a college degree to work there. So I knew that wasn't in my cards because I thought I was going to be, big on stage or working in New York. So I came back to Los Angeles, and our family was from there. So that was a move where I knew people. It wasn't a hard move. But I'm 17 now, 18 maybe years old, and I don't have any diploma, but I've done a little bit of work. And at that time, I didn't even really understand. Build a portfolio, get your work photographed, keep what you've done. I had none of that. So I went and knocked on some doors at Special Effects because I thought that sounds fun.
Yeah.
And so I went in and I offered. And I know a lot of kids today, they go to school and they spend a lot of time and a lot of money to get their degrees, and yet they have never learned about production art. Production art, it happens fast. It changes often. They change their mood. They change their this. You've got to be fast. And I went in, I thought, I really want to learn about special effects. So I went to this company called Altered Anatomies. They were working on the second Terminator. And I said, I will come in the morning at 7 a.m. and I will make coffee. I will clean your toilets. I'll sweep your floor. I will wipe all your tables down. And you don't have to pay me for 2 months.
just anything to be around that energy.
Want to be in the room, right?
Yes.
And so I said, please, if you do this for me, all I ask is every day you teach me something.
Wow.
So all I wanted was to learn. And the guy, how do they lose with that? Like, right. Oh, okay, we have somebody cleaning my toilets. It's all guys, all special effects. They're the kind of guys that in high school were like, half a knife in their head and blood patches. And they were kind of the geeky kids that were into horror. But those are all the guys running all these special effects houses. So I'm a woman, young girl, not too bad looking, going in and taking care of all their needs so I could learn something. And in the afternoon, I would get off and I worked as a waitress. So I would work all day, all night, get up in the morning and do it again. And after 2 months, they gave me a job and I worked on Terminator 2. And wow. I was able to work in life casting like Arnold Schwarzenegger. We made all the appliances that went on his body. I worked then with that company to do, it was called at that time, let's see, of course it was called at the same time right now, The Temp with Faye Dunaway, Timothy Hutton, and Laura Flynn Boyle. And I worked on that with the crew. And
was that daunting or overwhelming, or did you feel prepared for that in those moments?
You know what? I just was so open. I was a kid. I was so thrilled to be in the room. Yeah. I was ready for it. Just, hand me that bucket of guts. Send me in, coach.
Yeah.
Nothing scared me. I didn't know what I couldn't do.
Yeah.
So I wasn't limited that way.
That's great.
And so, all of a sudden I'm getting some creds being able to do that with no high school, no formal training. But I'm in the room with the people making some really cool stuff. And then we moved on to Creepshow. We worked on Creepshow, and then I worked on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So that was super fun. And it was just because I didn't walk in. I opened my own art studio after that in McMinnville. And I had met a wonderful actor. My folks lived in McMinnville. I went to visit. I got cast in a show because I love shows. So I get cast in a show.
The crowd
and it was The Odd Couple, and I played one of the Pigeon sisters. And there was a gentleman that also was cast in the show. Oh my God, he was beautiful. Well, we sat in the audience waiting for our parts to come up. He played Speed, one of the poker players. We got connected, fell in love, and on the phone, and I'm in California, he asked me to marry him. So I come to McMinnville, and I'm like, who in McMinnville is going to need what I need? I was very depressed. McMinnville, Oregon. The street now is, very high-end wine and tasting rooms. At that time, it was a lot of turkey farmers in the area. And I came to McMinnville, and it was like every window of the storefronts had dead flies in them. It was a ghost town. There was a big sort of bird flu that happened, like it's happening now, and they had to put down all their turkeys. So now the whole town is kind of dead, and it smelled like dead turkeys. It was like, what did I do? I left Los Angeles, and I'm on this trajectory, come to McMinnville, Oregon. Nobody's home.
It's a far cry from Los Angeles.
Yes, it is. And I'm like, well, what am I going to do? Well, I got my real estate license. I thought, well, I'll sell real estate. I was the youngest realtor in Yamhill County at the time at 25 years old. And, I was miserable. I thought, this is not what I want to do. And so I thought, well, I'm going to open an art studio and start working. Maybe we can do graphics or signage or murals or something. People gotta want some art. So I called a girlfriend of mine that worked for Disney, which I always like my dream. And I called her, and she worked at Disney for 11 years. And I said, you know what? If you come here from Disney, I will make you my 50-50 partner, and you can live in my house, and I will support you while we get our business going if you want to change your life. And she said, yes.
Wow.
Wow. She had been working for Disney for 11 years. She knew all the computer systems. She knew how to make signage. She knew how to put out artwork and graphics and professional. Me, I have no creds other than, I greased up Arnold Schwarzenegger and put him in a bath to make some legs and things. So when she said yes, I thought, oh, that's what my business needs. I need some credentials. So I asked her to join me, and she did. And it was really a good partnership. We loved it. We got an amazing space downtown, and I still had my real estate license because I thought, I've got to make money while I'm doing this, because I got to support all this that I'm committed to. And it was slow going, and I was paying overhead and selling, this and that here and there, but not. We were all eating macaroni and cheese. There was no big, huge wins at all. And one day, I don't know what it was. I can't really point to it. Maybe sometimes I have these feelings of what I need to do. And I thought, as long as I keep spending every day trying to sell real estate and do not commit to my art studio, I will never make it happen. I was terrified to do that, but I let my license go and I quit. And the day I committed, I got a giant mural project. It was like $10,000. It was this beautiful space that was opening. And this is 1992. And all of a sudden, from that, work started walking in the door. And then I landed the Rose Garden Arena project, which now is the Moda Center. And my little art studio went in, and we did 5 floors. Everything that's painted inside the Rose Garden Arena, which now the Moda Center in Portland, the Blazers home for Paul Allen. We were on site there for 4 or 5 months. A giant contract. The hardest thing about that, artists tend to smoke pot or take drugs, and working on a project like that, they want p-tests.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know who I'm going to get. I got a bunch of house painters. They understand how to do things in a timeline. I taught them how to do the faux finishes and how to do what I needed. And I got a bunch of really good guys to work on that project. And it was one of those things that was sort of an epiphany, because I had so many at this time. I had been in business 4 or 5 years, and I was having income and things were working, where I thought, you know what? All these people coming in with their portfolios from college, the first few that came in, because I don't have a college degree, I thought they must know more than I do. I hired them. And when I hired them, yeah, they've spent entire years putting together a couple of pieces of assignments, and that's what's in their portfolio. But I say, I need that out in 10 days. They would freeze. They had no idea how to do production art. It was much easier to get my house painters and teach them what I need than to try to get these people that were, I literally had one of the people that I hired, and I'm trying to put together this look. And sometimes, you know, when you're doing a look, like a production art, we were doing museum pieces. So sometimes when you're doing a look, we were building at that time giant rock desks for Big Bear Children Museum. And I'm trying a multitude of different things to get the look I want. And I have an artist that has never done anything standing behind me saying, well, you can't mix that with this. Well, you can't do, if you do pull away, then it's going to do X, Y, and Z. And I said, well, let's try it. And I realized that they had brought what they learned with them in a way that kept them in kind of a box. And I didn't have that training, so I didn't know it couldn't work, and I'd figure it out. And actually that worked really well for me.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's kind of how that happened. And my business partner I brought from Disney, God love her, she is terrific, but she kept complaining about there's nothing creative I'm doing at Disney, because all the fonts, all the signage, all the lands are already designed. So I'm just recreating what's already done. There's no room to be creative. And so I thought, well, come on with my studio, we'll just do this. And it ended up, everything that she was creating looked like Disney. She brought her 11 years of training and mindset with her. And it was very interesting. She said, why do the clients keep going with your designs? And I said, well, yours looks just like Fantasyland, or that's what they're off. I don't think that's what they want. But that's a funny thing where, you know, I'm not a big advocate for college. I think it's learning. You do your due diligence. You put yourself in to do the hard work that you want to learn. You don't ask for the big dollars. Dedicate yourself. Offer yourself.
Yeah.
Do it for nothing to get in the door.
Right. And there's obviously certain professions that absolutely need college education, but there's so much, like you said, where experience will outshine a college degree every single time.
Right.
And with somebody like yourself who has reinvented so many businesses, or even just taken what you've learned and implemented it into a business, taking that leap, taking that step to, like you said, just quit your job and go for it. Just
scary,
clean slate. But your experience of being in the places where you're just trying to put yourself in the room of the people who know more than you.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing.
That is what got me where I am. People going in and wanting a job, those guys are tight.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily want to pay an extra person. They don't know if they've bid the job right. They're not like super excited about sharing their secrets.
Yeah.
So by offering something for free, it endears yourself to them, and you're doing something in a way, mopping the floors, cleaning the toilets. They don't want to do that. And how nice it is to have somebody doing that, and what an easy thing it is to allow me to be at the table while they're creating something new.
Wow.
Super simple.
Yeah. So if anybody can take something from, I'm sure everybody that's in here right now, we have quite a few people that they're welcoming you. Hello, Teresa. Hi, Aunt Terry. It's from Kristen. Oh, geez, I need my glasses. We're getting there. Hold on. Well,
I got my
I know I need my glasses. We have hello, Desert Adventures in Arizona. We see you. He says great strategy. And Nick ARPG says, wow, what an incredible woman. We have people out here interacting with you, and your story of someone, like you said, just forcing yourself into a position to be able to learn, to be able to be seen, to be able to be a sponge within the world around you, even if you do have to sacrifice a little time and a little effort.
That's the key. If you dream it and you want it, just give them time. That's it. That is yours. If you've got to burn candles on both ends, which actually at a time I was working 3 jobs to keep myself above water in Los Angeles to pay for me to do this for free.
Wow. So let me ask, where are you at now? You have so much going on in your life. Aunt Ter, what's going on in your life?
Well, let's let's not miss the last
please
5 years.
Yeah, let's back it up. I'm sorry. Unpack.
No worries. Because I had my art studios. It was going gangbuster. I was married to the actor that I met for 25 years and had my life, I thought, like figured out. And all of a sudden, a divorce, which that was so hard because in that I turned into a country western song. So my love of my life of 25 years left for my best friend. My dog died. I shattered my leg and I was in a wheelchair on my 50th birthday. Wow.
We're the banjos now.
Yeah, I know. I was
that's horrible. My God.
Yeah. So I was a country western song. It was all happening. It all happened in 6 months. And during the interim, while I'm in a wheelchair, I got a lot of complications with my shattered leg. I wasn't able to walk. I was in it for a long time. My art studio, because I couldn't work, had all been moved out. I had somebody move it into a storage unit, a big storage unit. And all the bills were going to my family home that no family lived anymore. I'm in a wheelchair-friendly apartment by myself for the first time after being a family with 5 people. My youngest had gone off to college. So I am by myself in a wheelchair. Everything that I own is in a storage unit. And those payments never got to somebody. I never got the bills. I was overwhelmed and sitting pretty much crying in my soup every day. I wasn't sure I was going to make it through. I was so lonely and so alone. And then I found out that they auctioned off my storage unit with kilns and art easels and everything from my studios that I had collected over 20 years, gone. And now they were talking about me losing my leg and all this stuff. Bad. Anyway, a company that I had done several big projects for. I did like Nike, Catch the Wave. I built a 50-foot wave for them, 50 feet high that broke in half and was shipped to Hawaii for a big, huge opening for Nike. I had actually asked them to see if they wanted any work from me when I started walking again. And he said, what I'd really like is if you would come work for us. I'm like, wow, really?
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Corporation. Me, no high school, anything. And he said, what would it take? I'd like to buy your company, your contacts, and bring you in. And they offered me a job.
Wow.
And it was in a sales associate situation. And then within a year and a half, I was vice president of business development. This company did retail rollouts for Nike, Adidas, Guess, Skechers. And I was in charge of rollout in 8 countries for Skechers. I was in charge of Adidas. And I had a very big life. But what happened was, and I heard you talking about this on a podcast not very long ago, Alex. What happened is I was broken physically and devastated from losses in my life, and I threw myself at work. And I did that for 8 years, and I didn't look up, and I didn't create, and I didn't do any art. I just managed companies and where things are going and when things are shipping, and I thought somehow that was going to be okay for me. Well, it was okay because it paid me well, very well. And it was okay because it paid into Social Security. Because there was something that happened, and I'm 50, losing my ex-husband, I didn't even think about, because life was autopilot for me for a lot of years, with being married at 25 to 50. I didn't pay into my Social Security. I had a 0 Social Security buildup, 0 through my company. All credit cards, house, cards, everything was in his name. I had a 0 credit score, and nobody knew me out there. I didn't even know how important that was. At 50, I started at 0.
That is so inspiring. I just want to say it's never too late.
Yeah, it's never too late.
Never.
I got a $2,000 secured credit card, and now have built it where I have credit over $100 and some thousand in credit, and I have homes, and I have rebuilt my life, and I just feel so blessed. And that really where I started to change my life for the better, going through all the sadness and boo-hooey loss. When I got up in the morning and I could walk, I made my bed, because I hadn't done that because I was in my wheelchair. I'm in and out. I got up and made my bed, and I said, I'm going to get up and make my bed every morning. Simple little thing like that started to change my life. It was a simple thing I can do. I can take control of that, get my bed made. I did that. I can make a cup of coffee for myself after being in a wheelchair for almost a year.
Yes.
Little things like that where you don't realize what a difference that makes to bring your life back to on track again.
Yeah.
Little tiny steps, and starting those little steps every day, getting out of bed. Each step I took, because I hadn't walked, I said, thank you. So getting out of bed and putting my feet on the ground, going to the bathroom, I'd say, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Every step. Thank you. I'm grateful to be here.
That's beautiful. Gosh, there's so many things in life that it just takes a little perspective. And in your case, it was a devastating moment. And the fact that you could get back on the horse and look at the things around you and understand that with the ability to be able to make your cup of coffee, make your bed, just re-adding these little building blocks back to the structure and foundation of who you are as a human being ultimately led to just being
Yeah.
grateful for being able to work,
Yeah.
for being able to make your bed, to cook breakfast.
Yes.
And that's, yeah, beautiful. So inspiring.
Thank you.
Yes. Beautiful. Well, Antair, I want to know where you're at today. I'm so excited because I know you have such amazing things going on in your life right now. And where are you at right now? But this looks like you have just set up a whole studio for this one show. But why don't you
Nope.
tell us what you got going on?
Okay. So it was very interesting. Because what I went through, I went through so many years where I wasn't creating any art. And my guy, God love him, he's a sweetheart. He broke his leg. And gosh, I can totally relate to what it's like. He broke his leg in November. And we we bought a little beach house right before COVID. It's just a 2-bedroom little place, but it has an ocean view. And I couldn't be more thrilled to be grateful and thankful to have this. So he broke his leg in November. He was in a cast for almost 4 months. It didn't heal. It didn't heal. It didn't heal. And so I'm now stuck here as caretaker, and I just couldn't watch TV anymore. I thought, God, I just started having visions of paintings or things I wanted to do. And I just thought, I've got to do something. So I just started painting. I started painting. I was painting 2 or 3 paintings a week.
Mm.
I just got on fire. And he was like, honey, you want to come watch this on TV? It's like, no, I'm painting. Just something just like a flip of the
It's a
switch.
great feeling.
Yeah. And I don't know. I just feel like I'm just connected in such a beautiful way. I'm listening to beautiful music, and the light here is gorgeous. And all of a sudden, I am just creating. And before this, I started doing sculpture. I just wanted to work in it, in the clay. And so I started doing sculpture. And so now, as of the 1st, I have my first art show. My work is hanging in McMinnville on 3rd Street at John Stromey's Art Gallery. And I, in my first week, sold 2 pieces. So thrilled.
Yes.
Maybe
Beautiful.
fluky, I don't know, but I'm thrilled. And I'm retired. And so one of the things I did when I was working at the company, making some real money, I found we were up at Detroit Lake area. This is 15 years ago. And I said to my guy, I want to find a little cabin or something. I'd love to have something up here. I love this area. And we were on bicycles and looking around for a cabin and having breakfast. And some woman overheard us. And she said, hey, there's this really cool place just down the street for sale. It's like right on the river. And it's been locked up for years. I'm like, well, that sounds interesting. And we rode our little bikes over, climbed over the fence, went down and looked at it. It had a little tiny for sale sign in the window. And we looked inside, and it was full of garbage. The whole yard was full of garbage. The whole place was full of garbage. I mean, raw garbage somebody had been dumping there for years. And we met this little next door neighbor. I'm like, hey, do you know anything about this place? It says my mom and dad's. They're 95 and 97, and they've been moved to a home. I'm like, well, it says for sale. I mean, what do you want to do with it? And he said, well, the house is a knockdown, and it's on an acre, and it's sitting there on the river. And I'm like, well, I'd like to make an offer on it. I didn't have a lot. And I said, I'd like to offer 150,000 with $1,000 down. And always in my life, I learned a long time ago, no is an okay answer. So don't be afraid to be turned down. but you will never get it with what you're working with if you don't ask. If he says no, I'm no worse off. I'm exactly where I was before I asked. So I asked. 150,000 for your property with $1,000 down. And he goes, well, that seems a little thin. And I said, well, your property is full of raw garbage. And I can't get a loan on this property, even if I wanted to, in its condition. So I will pay you in full in 6 months. He goes, well, let me think about it. And I'm never going to get it. I just offered that. I don't, I know it's worth so much more, but it had been sitting empty for several years, and their parents are in this home and they don't know what to do. The kids are all in 70s, 80s. They don't know what to do because it's a mess. And so they called me the next day, and he said, well, I can't do 150. And I said, okay. And I was ready to hear. And I said, do you have a counter offer? And he said, we're not going to take a penny under 160.
Take my money.
So I gave him $1,000, and I paid to have a bunch of people come and take the trash. I mean, hazmat suits, giant, huge dump trucks of stuff out of there.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And here we are 15 years later, and it's called Rushing River Retreat. And I built an old little Western town in Rushing River Retreat. You can stay in the old hotel. You can stay
Pulling it up right now for people to be able to see. I'd like you to keep talking about it.
Yeah.
Here it is.
And you
the
can
Rushing
stay
River Retreat.
on the water. And I created that out of nothing.
Wow.
And it was just because don't be afraid to ask. If you don't have a lot, offer what you have. No is an okay answer. But sometimes they say yes.
Mm-hmm.
And they did.
Great.
And here we are all these years later. It's been a lot of work and love with friends and family. All of the kids have been up, including Alex. Everybody has had a hammer. Everybody has lifted a piece of wood on the other end. Everybody has put in their time and energy and helped create this beautiful place that we are so excited about.
Yes, it's been through a lot of iterations over the years. It's been the survivor of major fires and also been a victim of fires as well. And has been completely cleaned out and rebuilt and really been a labor of love. And I mean, your vision for a place like that. If I look at a room, it's so hard for me to know where things are going to go. I call in the troops like, hey, send some photos to my mom or you or somebody help. This is not my thing. But when you take an entire place that's sitting on the river, I have these photos pulled up and I'll kind of sift through them as I'm talking here. But when you take a place that is what it is and say, I'm going to add an extra room and add a dance studio and add a music hall and have all these little areas where it's just enchanting in one way or another. It's just like this, one of the most amazing places on the planet, probably my favorite place on earth to be. In the fact that you have the vision to do something like that, I've always been in awe of.
Well, I started as a set designer, working in theater and backstage, and this is how it ended. $1,000 out of pocket, a gamble, getting into the property. Yes, 2020 fires that burned down our business, but it spared our home. And last year we had a big fire, burned down our ballroom, and we built a Western town. And this has been a labor of love. Like I said, every one of the family members have been involved, have been part of it. And it's been a true labor of love. And I am so thrilled. So now I'm painting in the winter, and I'm going to be running Rushing River Retreat in the summer. And it is a beautiful place that feeds our souls. And hopefully that our visitors feel the same way.
Amazing. Yeah. And that is, why don't you give us the location of the Rushing River Retreat?
It is in Idana, Oregon. We are 4 or 5 miles from Detroit Lake, the largest recreational lake in Oregon, where you can rent ski boats and pontoon boats and kayaks. And we are 20 minutes to an amazing hot springs, which has a lodge, Brighton Bush Hot Springs, 20 minutes. So a lot of people do day passes at Brighton Bush and stay with us. And we are right between Salem and Bend. So it is a perfect place to stop on any road trip. And we are in the middle of the mountains at about 2,000 feet. We do get snow. It is beautiful to come in, even in the snowy time. And we're 30 minutes from the closest ski resort.
Beautiful. Yeah. And Aunt Tara, we could sit here and talk and talk and talk. First of all, I want to give you a round of applause, and I think the people do too. I love you so much. And I am just so proud.
Richard Elias saying he might have to take the wife there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Do bring the fam. We've got an old stagecoach, and we're right on the water. We've got the water is very interesting. It's got 3 bodies of water, so it's rushing river right in front, but we have this beautiful slow moving pond, and it's great for the little ones. So we've got some old little kid kayaks. It's like 2 feet deep, but it's a great place for the little kids to catch some frogs or crawdads and figure out how to work a kayak and get in the water and be safe.
Beautiful. And I cannot wait, Aunt Tara, to have you back on here. I would love to showcase a lot of your artwork. We're not going to be covering that tonight just because of time constraints, but I definitely want to have a complete show dedicated to your art.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to learn more about that too.
Definitely. Yeah, Damien's a fellow artist over here. What kind of art do you do, Damien?
I'm more into pop art.
Cool.
Like Andy Warhol. That kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a really, really good artist. And I would love to showcase, because you're a sculptor and you're painting.
Yeah, the sculpting I want to see. That's
so
what kind of sculpture? Is it like a face?
I did for several months. I started sculpting like relief tiles with whales and otters.
Oh, okay.
And ocean, because I'm here at the ocean. And then I started sculpting busts, and those have been really, really fun for me. I love it very much.
Good. I can't wait to hear about that on the next time you.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So a few things before we leave, Aunt Tara.
Yeah,
I would love to allow the people to get in contact with you, and go ahead and tell the people how they can contact you if they want to come visit you at Rushing River Retreat.
RushingRiverRetreat.com. And we've just made it live, and there's some issues, so they're working through it. So it is RushingRiverRetreat.com, or feel free to give me a call at 541-921-4448. That's 541-921-4448.
Beautiful. Well, I love you so much, and thank you
for being on the show.
Yeah.
Gosh, I love you. Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Thank you for giving me your time and space.
Of course. And I cannot wait to have you back on. I love you, Aunt Tara. And don't go anywhere, because we have a really exciting guest coming up next. Thank you, Aunt Tara. We're going to take a brief intermission, and we'll talk to you soon.
Good night.
Nice meeting you.
Love you. Nice to meet you. Bye-bye.
Oh, thank you everybody for hanging tight. It seems as though we had some audio issues, but we are back in business. Holy smokes, Teresa Vanderveer.
We could have probably been here all night because she had so many amazing stories,
dude.
And she probably, when she comes on, I want to, because that art in the back, was that hers?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
I feel like we just scratched the surface.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It was amazing interview and her life.
Yeah. So, I was learning new things too.
Yeah. Your family's amazing, man. It's your mom and your uncle and your aunt. I mean, I've almost met everybody on.
If nothing else, these diaries, these videos, these conversations will have forever.
That's all we got is memories at the end. You know what I mean? And with Mother's Day passing, happy Mother's Day to your mother and your aunt and your sister as well. And all the mothers out there. So. But yeah, this was a tough one because it was the first one when my mother hasn't been here. So just seeing the love that your family has, and it brings me a lot of joy just being around that. So thank you for sharing your amazing family.
I will share all the love with you, brother. You are with us.
That's what it's about.
Absolutely. Well, what would you say the main takeaway from Teresa was?
There was so many.
Yeah, it's hard to
I just love the positive go get them. Like, she put herself out there, and there might have been fear, but it was like that no fear because she had a vision of where she wanted to be.
Yeah,
and that's a lot of takes a lot of skill, but also passion.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that her surrounding herself with people that she was aspiring to be.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't want to be the smartest guy in the room.
Never.
And for you to take your time in exchange for learning from the people around you is, that's an admirable trait. So thanks again to Teresa Vanderveer for being on the stream. And I am so excited, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce our next guest. He has lived all over the world. He is an author. He is a man that I look up to. The man, the myth, the legend. We're going to add him to the stage here. Mr. Jeffrey Vanderveer.
Yeah. What a great introduction, Alex. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. How do we sound over there?
Beautiful.
Cool.
Well, awesome to me. I got my headphones on. I'm ready to rock.
Heck yeah, man. What you got going on today?
Oh my gosh. Well, we are in Ajijic, Mexico on Lake Chapala. And it is spectacular here. It is so beautiful. The people are so warm and so wonderful. And the food is just off the chart. And every day is gorgeous so far. And apparently the rainy season is the most beautiful here. Everything greens up. But the lake is almost 80 miles long and about 27 miles wide. So it's a big lake.
Wow. That doesn't suck.
No, doesn't suck. It's a lot of fun. So anyway, today, this morning, we moved into this other apartment. So it's been quite a day. Yeah. And speaking of family, they say that you can pick your friends, but you're kind of stuck with your family. I would not be able to pick a better family than the one I have.
We are truly blessed.
It's just everybody is so magnificently creative and considerate and warm and giving, and we're there for each other.
Yeah,
that's what counts.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I cannot wait for us all to conjoin forces one day and become, who's the Power Rangers? the big, I don't know, when they all come together and become the
X-Men or
mega
whatever.
And I used to be a Power Ranger, actually. Yeah,
you?
my mom had a company, and it was called Party Animals, and she would people would hire costumes to go, and so I was Barney, but Power Rangers. So yeah, I can relate to that.
That's awesome.
Nice, Damien. I
Hey,
can see that, man.
that's great. Nice.
and
Well, I
and
wanted,
hello to you, Damien.
Yeah, nice to meet you, and I loved that first interview, and just all the knowledge you were shared in that first interview. It's I keep telling him can't wait to have you back on the show and just read that book as well, which
Well, I
sounds
appreciate
amazing.
that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, and I think it's quite an adjunct to life itself, the book, because as I mentioned before, it is created in journal form, so we are co-authors, and the greatest author, of course, is the one reading it and journaling your life, and it's quite an exploration into the intricacies of our involvement physically, emotionally, psychologically, philosophically, and religiously, all of it. So that's the real beauty of this book, is that it is engaging and cooperative.
beautiful. Well, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say there's this term that I want to bring up, and I just
Mm.
want to throw it out there. I don't know why it came up, but have you ever heard of it? Because we live in Tucson, obviously, and
Mhm.
it's maybe not as beautiful as where you're at.
I
Like,
like Tucson.
no, it is a beautiful place, but as far as right now, it's a crime with the crisis. Crime,
Mm.
homelessness, drugs, those kinds of things. And so a lot of our
Right.
city is this term called compassion fatigue.
Mm.
Have you heard of that?
Mhm.
Where
Yeah,
it's been going on so long, nothing's being addressed. And so what are your
right.
takes on just hearing that term in that context?
Well, interestingly enough, that is a perfect adjunct and bridge to what I wanted to discuss tonight, was
Wow.
creating a stop in the ground for yourself, a place where you can go, either literally or imagination, where you are comfortable and safe and powerful. Now, I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, and part of what we do during the induction is to take people to what we call a safe place. So today, I believe, because we are so fragmented and there's a lot of confusion going on, we need a safe place to go in our minds. So what I'm suggesting is this to the listeners, and I do it myself. When we are in those moments of turmoil, anxiety, confusion, fractaling, and we might even have some burnout, and as you put it, what is it specifically again? Remind me.
Compassion fatigue?
Compassion fatigue. Yeah, you can only have a particular emotion for so long, and then it becomes fatigued, and it just sort of goes away because it gets numb. And we are we love to be compassionate people. We want to help people.
Right.
That's why you're doing this show, people helping people, and uh, your uh, your program here in Tucson, and it's all about helping people. So let's do that very thing right now. And here's what I mean by a safe place. There has been some time in your lives and the lives of the listeners where you felt safe, comfortable, powerful, and pretty much untouchable. If when you are in that state of confusion or burnout, if you imagine that place, as a matter of fact, I want you to think of it right now, a place where you have felt in your past. It could be a place you make up right now in your imagination, but some place where you feel secure and safe. and untouchable and powerful, and you can be comfortable in your own skin. Okay? Now, it might also have been a behavioral moment. It may have been a happenstance, an event where you pulled your rompers up and you ponied up the courage like Teresa did and said, you know what? I'm going to offer that money. I'm going to ask for that job. I'm going to tell them that I'm going to, some place, sometime in your life, you have had a moment where you stuck your neck out and said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to challenge this and champion it. And you did it. When you are in that situation, that moment of confusion and frustration, if you will take a breath, imagine yourself there, and then continue on. You might even draw a circle on the ground, literally or figuratively, and step into it and call it your circle of power, where that moment existed and will exist as soon as you step into it. And when you engage in that moment of power, that moment of self-security, that place where you are the man or the woman and you've got it handled, you're in the zone. Take another breath, hold that breath, and allow it to permeate every cell of your body. Then address the situation with that power and strength. So go create a safe place for yourself and indulge yourself in it whenever you need it. So there you go. That's part of it. And we could expound on that. I can wax philosophical forever about that type of thing. But to have that stub in the ground, as my dad used to put it, to tether yourself to whenever you need to go there.
The power of the mind. It's very interesting when you do have those situations where you need focus or you feel like maybe you're grasping or clawing at something and you're not quite getting traction, to empower yourself in such a way, like you said, maybe drawing a circle that you step into and feel those emotions of clarity, positivity, strength. And one thing that I had spoken about in the last podcast was how much each individual in the world, doesn't matter who you are, have endured to get to where they're at. And maybe they never had that moment of supreme feeling that you're speaking of, right? Where, and maybe you establish that moment right now, but they have endured so many things to get to the moment where they're at, to be grateful for and to be able to persevere and push on through whatever it is that is in front of them. And I want to piggyback on what you're saying and tell people to gently remind themselves of the moments that they've pushed through, of the moments that they've endured, and how they came out of those moments, because they're here right now. And maybe they still linger and maybe there's still pain there, but they are here. They are still moving. They are still breathing. They are still sharing space and air with the others around them. And that is the greatest gift of all. And to piggyback on what Terry was saying, it's a full circle here. How when the simple things that are stripped from you, whether it be waking up and being able to make your bed, when those things are no longer available to you, you all of a sudden find ways to be grateful for them. You find that there is pleasure in smelling the coffee in the morning, in that ice cold cup of water, or opening the door and seeing the sun peeking through the clouds in the morning. There's so many things where you can take moments and feel that gratitude. And I think that's kind of what you're touching on, is triggering those emotions. in order to help you through whatever moment that it may be, that may be bringing you back, or bringing you down, or feels like, a hill that you cannot climb, to harness that love, gratitude, gratefulness, just all these things to allow you to break through those walls. And yeah, I feel as though that's really important.
Yeah, sometimes the smallest steps will encourage you to just take another one.
Yeah.
I don't know, did I share last time about my experience of selling vacuum cleaners door to door? And
Yes.
yeah, and in that moment when I overcame that, I've had some far more significant things than that, but somehow that has always touched me. Now, there is a Japanese business design, if you will, a 6 habits that comes to mind, that is an adjunct to what we're speaking of. And for those of us who are still with us, and if you're taking notes, I'd really encourage you to. Basically, it's called Ikigai, which is the number one. That's the first of a series of 6 bullet points, if you will. And the Ikigai is the discovery of your purpose. Just like Terry was doing the jobs and working for great companies and making a bunch of money, but it wasn't satisfying because she wasn't addressing her purpose. She wasn't fulfilling her purpose, but she addressed it. She listened to the call, and she courageously stepped out of that comfort zone and into a world that could have been disastrous. However, she felt the calling. And that was her purpose, to do the artwork, to be creative. And so that when you find that purpose, you wake up every day with just enthusiasm and drive and excitement. When I get up in the morning, I say, yabba dabba doo, because it's another beautiful day to do something fun and cool and creative. So Ikigai is number one. Number two is Kaizen. And Kaizen is to focus on small daily improvements in whatever it is you're challenging, or whatever you're growing in, whatever you're educating yourself in, or producing or creating. If it's a business or if you're working for somebody, you just that some daily increase and improvement in what you're doing. It's Kaizen, Kaizen, for those who are taking notes. So it's not overwhelming. You can't get to the end of the road in one step. Little tiny bites. It's like, how do you eat an elephant? Well, one bite at a time.
Yeah.
So number 3 is Pomodoro, and it's a Pomodoro technique. And what they do is they've discovered that the most productive way to work is 25 minutes, full focus, without any interruptions or distractions, and then take a 5-minute break. And they've found that people who do that get far more done. They are way more productive than people who just sit at a desk or in front of, or even if you're out working, with your hands building something. Work 25 solid, focused minutes, take a 5-minute break, and do it again. It's surprising how fast the day goes and how much energy you maintain, and the productivity is like threefold.
Wow.
Number 4 is Harahachi Bu. And it's kind of a silly word, phrase, whatever. But what it means is this: when you eat a meal, don't eat until you're full. When you're about 80%, when you're like, oh, okay, well, all right, I could eat more, but push the food away. Eat till you're 80%. It gives you more energy. You're not lethargic. It keeps you focused. It's better for the mind and the body and the spirit. So, hara, hachi, bu. Number 5 is soshin. And soshin is probably my favorite. What it means is to approach every single thing that you do as if you were doing it for the first time, with deep curiosity. Ask yourself questions that you've never asked yourself before. Even if you're a super pro, even if whatever you're doing, you've done over and over and over, and you are the best on the planet doing it. Ask yourself some questions about it that you've never asked yourself before, and go about answering those questions. And if you can't think of any, have somebody else ask you some questions about it.
Yeah.
Because it will spark some avenues that you have yet to explore, and it will expand your knowledge, your awareness, your creativity, and improve on whatever it is you're working on.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, I like that. That's probably my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And 6, and the last one is wabi sabi. And it is, what it means is to embrace imperfection.
Easier said than done.
Way easier said than done for some of us who are, a real anal about it. Yeah, right. Guilty as charged.
Yeah.
And what happens is, just like, burning out with compassion, we get analysis paralysis. We overthink it and then don't do anything at all. It's better to get in motion and change direction along the way. Have you ever tried to steer your car while it's sitting in the driveway? It's not going to change direction, is it?
Right.
You can turn that wheel all you like, all the way left, all the way right. It ain't going nowhere. It's going to stay right where it is.
Mm-hmm. Well said.
So just put yourself in motion. Go out and do it. I know that you've done that 1,000 times in your life, Alex, where you just, you just charge ahead. And I know that you're looking for perfection because that's who you are. And yet you have that courage to just step forward and start moving, make it happen. And you're going to learn all along the way.
Yeah.
And it's easy to change direction when you're moving, just like a car. Easy to turn that wheel and change direction. But if you're not moving, you're in a rut, and a rut is just a grave with either end kicked out.
Gosh, that's good. That's good. I like that. And that's just it. I think that for one, not overeating, that is huge for so many people in the world, and myself included. There's times when something is just so dang good, you don't want to put it down. It's tough.
Oh,
man.
Your stomach's full in your mouth once more.
Yeah. It's like, my body.
It's so good. Come on.
Yeah.
It's like the guy said, Lord, let me stop one bite before gluttony.
Yeah.
But I had go ahead.
Oh, I said, please don't let me sin again.
Some more.
Yeah.
I had a member of the family who one day we were at dinner and she said, gosh, I'm just not full. And I thought to myself, full. Now there's a concept. I'd never considered that before. I said, full? What do you mean by full? Does that mean you can't shove in another bite into your mouth? What does that mean, full?
Right.
It was a strange concept to me. And because typically I eat to get satisfied. I don't even to this day, having thought about that for years, I don't know what that means to be full.
Yeah. Yeah. And not only that, but our bodies, it takes more energy to digest food than to do anything else that our body needs energy for. So
Yep.
Yeah.
when we are sleeping and replenishing and everything's just, our body's healing while you sleep. When you're eating a big old fat meal right
Yeah.
before you go to bed, and I'm guilty.
Oh,
I'm not on a high
yeah.
horse.
As the older I get, I'm trying to never do that. But yeah, when it happens, I wake up at like 2 a.m. and I'm like, no,
It
why did I
hurts.
do that?
Yeah, it
But
hurts.
with that being said, in the conversation of food and it sounds, I know you're a really healthy eater, and it sounds like Jeffrey, you are as well. But we have these the family dollars and the Dollar Trees, which are primarily put in lower income areas, and these people are literally getting fed all the stuff in the Dollar Tree, which we know is not the healthiest.
Yeah.
And so I think the topic of food and I think Robert Kennedy is now the new, and he's starting to try to push things to make people healthier because a lot of these foods are shortening lifespans and in the name of profit, in my opinion.
Well, and it's pretty amazing. I mentioned that we're down here in Mexico, and the street food is the best. The food that we buy, even at the markets, it's all fresh.
Yeah, right out of the.
They don't have to say organic because they don't know anything else.
Right.
They don't. I mean, some of the farms, I guess, have some pesticides and so forth. But I looked at a food. What was it the other day? I was having something and it had 3 ingredients and they're all natural. Oh, potato chips. Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
I bought a bag of Mexican potato chips. It was potatoes, oil, and salt. That's it.
Unbelievable.
Right?
In our culture.
I mean,
I can't say
buy
things.
Right.
Yeah.
You buy a bag of chips, you get tired reading the ingredients.
Yeah.
You don't know
either.
You don't recognize any of them.
Yeah.
It's hard to find good food to
Yeah.
eat, but please, and all right, well, I'm going to get off topic here for a second.
Sure.
Because we sort of went down this rabbit hole about food.
Yeah.
It is difficult to find good food. We're not letting 1/7 of our farms go fallow every year. Farmers have discovered that it only takes 7 minerals to actually have something come out of the ground, where about 48 or 49 minerals are available to us through most vegetables that are not there because they don't care. So it's difficult, and I know that in Oregon, particularly in Portland and other parts, people grow a lot of their own vegetables and fruits and that type of thing. And of course, that's the best. But it's so critical, people, to do the best you can, particularly with your kids. I mean, you are what you eat. I don't care. You're not going to put water in your gas tank and get very far.
Yeah. And that's so true. It's so tough as well, because on the note that Damien was speaking on, it's the things that are accessible are at a certain price point. And it is not only that, but the convenience that is killing us. It is so expensive for me to eat the way that I eat. And literally all I eat is apples.
I was going to say apples.
Apples, peanut butter, and it's organic apples, peanut butter that's just roasted nuts and salt. I have shrimp and I do some occasional things here and there, but
Yeah.
that's really it, and some fruit. But it is very expensive and it's tough. It's tough, but I just want people to take a moment to at least educate yourself. Please don't fall into the norm of ignorance, because we have all this knowledge at our fingertips now. Do a little bit of research and find what works best for you. If it takes an elimination diet and where you just eat nothing but whatever it may be, whether it's fruits or vegetables, whatever works for your body, and then slowly reintegrating the things that, maybe bread is great for you, maybe it's not, but just integrate those things and see how your body reacts like that. If I can give any advice to anybody in the world who wants to reset their mind and body from the inside out, besides an actual fast and cleanse, is eat the same healthy meal every day for 2 weeks. Give your body 2 weeks with that same exact meal. Then start to bring in other foods and see how your body reacts. You can, like earlier today, I took an extra scoop of creatine before I went to the gym, and it was 5 grams too many. I knew immediately. I was like, I got a little bit hot, and I was like, okay, so this is, and it's only because I'm in tune with the food that I'm eating, and it's perfectly portioned, and I don't stray.
Yeah.
And honestly, when you do things like that, then when you do have a slice of pizza, you really taste how many fake ingredients are in a slice of pizza.
Yeah, and I think that's like the educational part of a lot of people growing up and eating. There was none of that educational part.
Oh, it was.
Now you got the internet, and people are educating, and so I think it's great that we're learning. And, and I'm learning a lot just from your eating style. So
yeah, I mean, they're great. Wake up and have Cheerios for a healthy, complete breakfast. Eat your Frosted Flakes, kids. Like,
Tony the Tiger. Yeah, they're great. Hey, I wanna thank you, Richard and Michael, both for your comments about growing, good food and supporting the farmers. And by the way, the hardest part is keeping the rabbits out. Well, hey, you know what? Rabbits are organic too. I've eaten a lot of rabbit out there in Arizona, and some of it's pretty doggone good. If you're a carnivore.
There's some restaurants that actually, I guess, serve rabbit.
Is that right?
Oh yeah.
Not many. You gotta like do a little research. But I remember up in Mesa there was a German restaurant that actually sold rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Well, I lived out in Marana in an army mash tent for a year.
Cool.
Wow.
And I shot rabbits and dove and ate rattlesnake and all that stuff. And you know what? I'm here to tell about it.
Yeah. Yes, I love it. I love it. Well, Uncle Jeffrey Vanderveer, I would like to talk a little bit. If we can get a brief synopsis on your book, and we kind of touched on it before, but I want to reiterate the book that you wrote. You are an author amongst many other things, but just give the people a little bit of guidance towards how to find your book, what your book is about, and what kind of benefits they can get from reading it.
Yes, well, you are among the elite few who get an introduction to it because it's on Amazon Kindle only right now, although I'm having it published to go into libraries and bookstores. And when you look it up as Demystifying Your Seven Senses, and the seven is the numeral 7, it's going to come up looking like Awakening Your Seven Senses. That's fine. It's the same book. And I don't have it on there to make a whole ton of money. It's 99 cents. Go buy one.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It's it's demystifying your 7 senses. We're familiar with the 5, right? But when we really go about examining at much greater depth everything that we taste, everything that we smell, everything that we see, everything that we hear, and really tune in to the delicacies and the vast, just plethora. I'm sorry I use that word, it's way overused, but the infinite possibilities within every sense, instead of just taking it all for granted, like making your coffee and making your bed. We take it for granted. But if we really examine it very, very closely and get in touch with it super closely, and then journal it for our edification later, we realize how much more in touch and in tune and involved we are in our very lives that we've ignored before, and the compassion and the expansion and that which we can share to others. And the sixth sense is intuition. And we know that that's a sense. We call it female intuition, but men, that's a big mistake. We are deeply intuitive. Those moments when you had that feeling like, wow, I really should do that, but reasonably and logically, it just doesn't make any sense. And then you don't do it and you realize later, oh, could have had a V8. And so your intuition is an extremely deep, deep subject. And it is one of your chakras. It's the solar plex chakra. And when you begin to trust that intuition and respond to it frequently and specifically, it will begin to trust you more, and it will give you more of those messages. And when you exercise it, you'll get in tune with it, and you'll find yourself making better decisions and performing better and with much, much better outcomes. And of course, the seventh sense is spiritual. And wherever you are within that spiritual umbrella, whatever name you put on your creator, just get in touch and be in touch more often, more frequently, at greater depth, with greater sensitivity and appreciation and grace and love and harmony with the world. And when we really, really get in tune, unashamedly, without excuses and without anything except that personal relationship, and continue it and journal it, you're going to find yourself dramatically transformed.
Wow. And all that can be found in your book, which is Demystifying Your Seven Senses, that the art of inspiration and
living it.
I need to have my glasses on
and living it.
and living it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So that's on the screen for the people there. Anybody and everybody, go check that out. And it looks like Michael Mosley we see out there. It looks like he took a screenshot so he doesn't forget the name of it.
Cool.
Richard says, when I was a paramedic, I learned to listen to the hair rising on the back of my neck and still.
Exactly. Way to go. Perfect. Yeah. That's beautiful. That intuitive moment that when your body's talking to you, just like when you read down the menu and your mouth waters. That's what you need.
Until 80%.
80%. Yeah. Don't have that pie for dessert.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Uncle Jeffrey Vanderveer, my friend, my uncle, and somebody that I am proud to be intertwined with in any which way.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate you. And we're going to have you be a regular on the show. I love the topics that you come up with, and you're just an inspiring individual to listen to. You have so much wisdom, so much charisma, and you're so young and vibrant,
And calm,
Yeah.
calm. You know what I mean? He brings this calmness that I
Yes.
think a lot of people, I mean, could really learn a lot from just what you know and who you are. But just, you know, a lot of times the voice can also get you in tune. And you mentioned, I think the next episode, I really want to hear about the hypnotist
Oh yeah.
Oh,
side,
okay.
and you know, because that I think interests people. And I'm not saying I want to be hypnotized or anything, but hey, maybe,
Pick me.
maybe
You know what, Damien? Yeah, I'm going to interject one quick second.
please.
You're already hypnotized.
Ooh.
The the very fact that you said I'm not sure I want to be hypnotized
Yeah.
is an hypnotic effect.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
As a matter of fact, people who say, "Oh, I can't be hypnotized," well, you're hypnotized in believing you can't be hypnotized.
And I've heard so many good things about it that, you know, I know people have quit smoking. You know, like I had a friend that was a cigarette smoker, and the
Sure.
hypnotist worked. So yeah, I'm interested to just hear about that and more.
Definitely. Well,
I'd
Uncle
be
Jeff,
happy to talk about it.
you have so many chapters of your life and so many different things
Yeah.
that we will uncover over time, because like I said, you're going to be regular on the show, and I really, really appreciate you taking the time, being so patient as you were. You jumped on the call early and you waited for us, and I just couldn't appreciate your time more. So thank you
Well, I
so much
loved
for being
hearing Terry's story. I know the story of it. She is just so inspiring and so loving and heartwarming that I'm absolutely certain that she has inspired some people.
Yes.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Jeffrey Vanderveer, Damien of 857 Tucson. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been People Helping People. We're signing off.
Adios.
Adios.